Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. Most of you know that F-16 was used with great success in Israeli service. The airplane is credited with a lot of air-to-air victories, but even many military aviation enthusiasts don't necessarily know much about the first kill ever scored by an F-16 pilot. This is what we will talk about in this video. Let's start by the introduction of F-16 to the Israeli Air Force. The approval for the sale of the first 75 F-16s followed the peace agreement with Egypt. However, Israel would get its F-16 sooner than expected because the Islamic Revolution in Iran caused cancellation of a large batch ordered by Shah. The first 4 examples were delivered to Israel in July 1980 and the final ones arrived in 1981. As always, the new airplane was given a Hebrew name, in this case Netz, meaning hawk. This initial quantity of F-16s equipped 3 squadrons where they replaced Mirage 3C, A4 Skyhawk and Nesher, locally built Mirage 5. One of the squadrons now equipped with F-16s was the 1st Jet Squadron, whose name dated from early 1950s when they operated British Meteor. One of its pilots would now get a chance to make history. We are now in April 1981 and 2 Israeli F-16 pilots were scrambled to intercept Syrian Mi-8 helicopters over Lebanon. They were reportedly landing commandos near pro-Israeli Christian militia positions. The civil war in that country had been going on for years with heavy involvement from both Israel and Syria. They supported different sides but sometimes clashed directly. 2 pilots took off to find the Syrians. One of them was the unit commander, Colonel Raz. The other was a young lieutenant described as Rafi. According to one of my viewers from Israel, his full name is Rafael Eitan. I also found a list of Israeli F-16 kills on a Czech site which calls the pilot Rafi Berkovic. The airplanes were configured for air-to-air operations with 4 AIM-9L sidewinders, a centerline fuel tank and gun ammo. After takeoff, they were instructed to stay low and head towards the sea near Haifa. Then they turned north towards Beirut. Reaching the city, they were instructed to climb to 20,000 feet, then to head towards Rayak Airport in Bekaa Valley. Not being able to find anything, they turned northwest and then back. Only then Lieutenant Rafi's radar picked up a low-level contact about 25 miles away. The flight leader's radar didn't function, and normally in such a case the wingman would be given the lead. Lieutenant Rafi, however, was given only a half lead due to his inexperience. He was relaying radar info to Colonel Raz over the radio, and the colonel communicated with the ground control. The F-16s then dropped to 5,000 feet, which meant entering a hostile airspace protected by surface-to-air missiles. They were then given permission to engage the helicopter. Lieutenant Rafi was trying to get a Sidewinder lock, but he was getting erratic tone. He decided to launch it anyway, fearing that he might miss an opportunity. Sidewinder missed and hit the ground. As he was pulling up and getting ready for a second pass, he heard warnings from ground control that 2 Syrian MiGs were 20 kilometers east of them. He calculated that he still had enough time. He then observed his commanding officer attempting a gun pass, so he decided to follow his example. Diving on the helicopter, Lieutenant Rafi fired a long burst which caused helicopter to explode. He then pulled an AG evasive maneuver flying just above it. 2 F-16s headed west before Syrian MiGs could reach them. Lieutenant Ruffy was welcomed by hundreds of people in front of the hardened shelter, and this was his moment of glory. Gun kills were considered especially valuable among older pilots. Several hours later, another F-16 shot down one more Syrian Mi-8 over Lebanon. Some of you might be a bit disappointed that this wasn't some complicated maneuvering dogfight, but shooting down helicopters isn't a trivial thing. Helicopters move much faster than ground vehicles, making an approach harder. On the other hand, they're much slower than airplanes, which means you always have high closure rate. And finally, they fly close to the ground, which is yet another dangerous factor for fast jets. I also need to say that the airplane flown here historically was F-16A. We represented it with F-16C Block 50 because that's what's available in DCS world. Avionics are more modern, but payload was limited to L-model Sidewinder and gun ammo. Geographical locations, however, are pretty accurate. If you liked the video, please be sure to press the like button, which is a great help to the channel. Support on Patreon would be even greater if you're able to do so. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and keep watching Showtime Moment 2.